Hello, and welcome to another episode of Soul Talk Radio. So, today I wanted to talk about finding our purpose. So, I get this question a lot like, how do I find my purpose? How do I figure out what my purpose is? And I think that as a society, we're all kind of feeling very stuck, and a lot of us are feeling very lost in whatever career we've chosen, and we feel like we didn't choose right. Um, and so we're seeking out a way to change that, a way to possibly change careers and go after our quote unquote purpose. So I want to kind of dive into that today and talk a little bit more about that. First of all, anytime I'm asked this question, people tend to get an idea in their head that excuse me, that their purpose is some sort of job, right? Like it's some sort of job that they should be doing, career that they should be pursuing, that sort of thing. However, I want to make sure it's known that your purpose doesn't have to be your job. Your purpose is just simply something that you're passionate about. When you follow your passions, the things that bring you joy, the things that you're excited to talk about, that is your purpose. Whether or not it brings about a job, whether or not you're doing it full time and it's bringing in money for you, it's still your purpose. So, applying this to my own life, I still work in legal, but I do truly think that I'm living my purpose right now because I'm very passionate about teaching meditation. I love meditation myself. I'm an avid meditator, and breath work helped save me from my panic attacks. And I fell in love with all of those things and kind of went down this 10-year healing journey, which led me to where I am now, where I'm wanting to teach everything that I've learned to others, through this podcast, through the book that I've written, and through my meditations. So, regardless if this brings me any money, it's still my purpose. Just because it's not my full-time job doesn't make it any less of my purpose, right? The only reason why we consider our purpose to be some sort of job is, first of all, that's what we've been told. That's what we've been spoon-fed, that idea that it's some sort of job that we need to be pursuing. But it's also because we live in this capitalistic society. Because I thought about it this way. For example, well, first of all, I don't think that we're meant to be living the way that we're living. And I say this for a reason. I bring this up first for a reason. I don't think that we're supposed to be living so isolated in our, we're supposed to be living in community and, getting our food from the land and wearing minimal clothing really to just protect us from the elements, that sort of thing, excuse me. And when we lived like that, when we lived in community like that, we would just simply pursue the things that brought us passion. If it happened to bring us money as well, fantastic. But we weren't concerned with, how can I turn my passion or my purpose into a job, into money, right? Because that's not necessarily what it's all about. It's fantastic if you can take something that you're passionate about and turn it into a career, turn it into a job. That's fabulous. But that doesn't always happen. And some people will pursue, a really stable career, a job that pays them well. That way they can use that money to pursue the things that they're passionate about, to pursue their hobbies and pursue their purpose. Because again, the things that you're passionate about, that is your purpose. And another example of this would be like, let's say you really loved gardening, right? And you found yourself really pulled to that. You do it on the weekends, you talk about gardening, you listen to gardening podcasts. This is just an example. You possibly just gardening in your spare time, or teaching other people how to garden, or maybe you open a YouTube channel teaching people how to garden, whatever it is, that is your purpose. If it's your passion and you're pursuing your passion, that is your purpose. That is how you help humanity. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that because you're like, well, how is my gardening helping humanity in this example? Trust me, it is. When you live from a place of passion, when you pursue those passions, when you pursue those hobbies, and other people see you pursuing those hobbies, pursuing those passions, you're giving them permission to do the same. And Also, you may be igniting a fire in them about whatever your passion is, that it now becomes their passion because they're like, oh, wow, I really like that. Um, I never knew about this thing, whatever it is. And now that you're showing it to me, now that you're pursuing that, I find it really interesting myself. And in that way, you're kind of waking up, sparking creativity in the world. So I found a few really great questions online to kind of help you dive into this a little bit further if you're still struggling to know, because some people struggle to even know what they're passionate about, right? Sometimes we're just so caught up in work and we're tired, and so we don't really have time to pursue our passions, pursue our hobbies. So again, here are some questions that you could consider asking yourself to kind of dive into, what is it that I'm passionate about? So one question is, first of all, is there something that you already love doing? Is there a hobby that you already love doing? Maybe something that even was a hobby in childhood that you've put on the back burner because you felt like you didn't have the time or the money to pursue it. Maybe it was creating art or building something. Maybe it was collecting, just writing down your answers to that. And also, what do you spend your time either reading about or watching on television or listening to on a podcast? For example, do you find yourself listening to a lot of podcasts about gardening, in my first example, and looking at what type of information you're wanting to digest? What type of books are you looking into? Those are all signposts to what it is that you're passionate about. And it could also be signposts to what your hobby, your main passion or your main hobby could be or currently is. Like if you're following a whole bunch of, just thinking of an example, snowboarders online and watching a lot of videos about snowboarding, and that might point to something that you're passionate about or a hobby that you currently have or that you're hoping to pursue. And then some other questions are, what were you doing when you felt the freest? And in that moment when you felt the freest, that again can be a signpost to what you're passionate about, what your purpose is. Another question, what do you daydream about? What brings you the most joy? Another one is, what is your unique ability? Do you have any unique abilities? What makes you lose track of time while you're doing it? That is a beautiful signpost. Let's say, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I actually really love playing with Legos. I love putting Legos together. And in high school, I actually took a architecture drafting class, and I did very well in that class. And part of me wanted to pursue becoming an architect. And I still think that I would have been really good at that. But that is a small passion of mine, like just building stuff, putting stuff together. And by the way, you can be a multi-passionate person, a person who has multi-purposes in that way. When you're having multiple passions, you therefore have multiple purposes in life. So for example, I feel like I'm a multi-passionate person. I love making art. I love drawing. I love sketching. I love painting. I love writing poetry. I love just writing in general. I love teaching meditation. I love teaching breath work and people about mindfulness and stuff like that. So those are all different aspects of my purpose, of things that I'm passionate about. Another thing is, a lot of times I've seen people take two things that they're passionate about and kind of merge them together into their purpose. For example, one thing with me is I really like also being out in nature. So I thought about maybe teaching some sort of outdoor meditation class, or like a walking meditation class, or somehow figuring out a way to integrate being in nature with me teaching, and that would be a way for me to kind of merge those two passions of mine. Another question that I really liked was, so I found this online. It says, this is called the rocking chair test. It's a question. It says, imagine yourself at 90 years old, sitting on your porch in a rocking chair and reminiscing about your life. As you're sitting there, what is your biggest regret? What do you wish that you had experienced? What passion do you wish you had followed? And how do you want to be remembered? As you start to think of the answers for those things, again, it's going to point you in the direction of your passions or of something that you want to be pursuing. And something else that kind of probably needs to be said during this conversation is a lot of times your passions and your purpose are really going to push you out of your comfort zone. They may not be things that you would be comfortable doing in public. Like when I first started teaching meditation, I was so scared. So scared. When I first started teaching this podcast, I was scared just because it's live, And but I pushed past those fears. I thought, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is absolutely my purpose. You just need to push past it and do it anyways. You're going to have to look at your fears and examine those fears and examine why you're feeling fearful. Most likely it's because you're just afraid of being seen, afraid of being judged. And so then you'll have to push past those fears and quite frankly do it anyways. Because if you allow your fears to stop you from pursuing your passions, from pursuing your purpose, you will be that 90-year-old in the rocking chair sitting back and regretting, what passion that you didn't pursue. Another great question that I found, and I actually, I think I read about this online. It was called The Ultimate Question. So I answered it myself, and I'll give you some of my answers to kind of give you a little bit of inspiration. But here's the question. If you had infinite money, if you had already traveled the world, if you had no fear, and also you would not be recognized for what you did, what would you do? And so I sat back and I thought about that question. And here was my answer. I said, I would still want to make the world a better place, even if nobody knew it was me. It wouldn't matter. It would have a ripple effect on the world to alter humanity, just like any person bettering the world. And then I made a list of all of the things that I would want to do. And every single one of them I am currently pursuing. I would want to be a guided meditation instructor. I would want to be an author. I would want to be an artist of any kind, painting, sketching, possibly even crochet, something like that. Be a podcaster to teach what I've learned, and be a public speaker. So, so I found another thing online. It was called like the finding your purpose diagram. Here, hold on. I wanted to pull up the photo of it, so I'm telling you guys exactly what it is. Yeah, it was called the life purpose diagram. So you can actually just Google this, but I made my own to show you guys to kind of help you make this yourself. So what you do is you would draw 3 circles and they're overlapping each other, right? I'll bring this closer to the camera for those people. And then I'll show Instagram as well. So the top one, you would write all of the things that you love to do. And the one to the left, you write the gifts that you have. And then on the third one, you say what the world needs. So where what you love and the gifts that you have come together, that would be your passion. What the world needs and what you love, when those come together, that would be your mission. And the gifts that you have versus what the world needs, that would be your vocation. Where they all meet in the middle, that would be your purpose, or it could possibly be your purpose, right? So I think that this was a really good little exercise to do. I also found another one that's somewhat similar. It has the 3 circles as well, but instead of the middle being finding your purpose, it's finding life's why. Because some of us ask, like, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? It's finding your life's why. So this one, again, just a tiny bit different, and I'll zoom in real quick. So the top one is, what would you do for free? For example, I wrote down, I would still teach and I would still write. The one to the left bottom says, what do you dream of getting paid to do? For me, I wrote down teaching and being a writer as well as a coach. The one to the right says, how do I spend my free time? For me, I wrote nature, being in nature, and I also, joined that public speaking group, as well as meditating. So between what you would do for free and what you dream of getting paid to do, apparently that is your purpose in this diagram. How do you spend your free time versus what do you do for free? When those interject, that is your passion. And then what do you dream of getting paid for versus how do you spend your free time? That would be your dream job. And where all of these meet together would be your life's why. Again, like, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? That sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys found this helpful as far as how to find your purpose and therefore pursue your purpose. Again, your purpose really is just finding what you're passionate about and pursuing that, regardless if it's a job or not, regardless if it makes you any money or not, it's still your purpose. So hopefully you like this episode, and that is the end of today's episode. I also teach a live meditation on the Insight Timer app every Sunday at 10 a.m. if you'd like to join us there. And I'm also, if you're interested in a session with me, you can visit my website for more information, meganshirey.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We record these episodes every Sunday at 11 a.m. and they are posted on all major podcasting platforms on Monday at 7 a.m. If you love our content, please leave a question or an episode idea, and please leave us a review. May you be happy. May you be well, may you be joyous and at ease, and until next time.